Go. So when you get into BoldTrail, the first screen you normally see is going to be called your dashboard. If you've been in KV Core, it's the same thing you pretty much saw when you would go into KV Core. It goes over pretty much everything that has recently happened on your part of KV Core. So if you look down here, when I'm grabbing these screenshots, sometimes as an admin, I will get notifications for everyone in the company. So everyone getting texts back from clients, all that. When you're looking at it, your field right here should mostly identify just you. If any of you in here are also admins though, or kind of in charge of an office, you will want to always watch for these little selection toggles here, because that is where you toggle from the company level to the office level to the individual level. So if you're trying to make changes or look at something just specifically to yourself as a realtor, that is something you'll want to look for. If you're only a realtor, it won't come up because it will only offer you your own information. But then going under this is where, when you log into KV Core, the first place you want to start looking. Because any recent activity of people already in your KV Core are going to be listed down here. So if you see here, there's a new lead from a tracked call, market reports that print on their own, the viewed listings, new leads, and texts back from clients. Those ones that say stop, don't get too upset by them because of the automated messaging that comes with KV Core. Oftentimes that's just a way to weed out the people that are browsing and not looking for the action, and the ones that are looking to, get into this back and forth, the properties they're looking at and what they're looking to do. So the top left of the activity stream offers you basic filtering options to narrow down the types of activities you are desiring. The first drop-down menu allows you to select a scope. That's what I was referencing initially. The scope identifies how much of the company's information you want to see. All activity allows you to limit the type of activity. So if you're only looking to respond to texts, emails, new leads, questions, you can filter down here. Most of the time, you're not going to have to go in and start filtering, because unless you're getting, 50 responses a day, you can pretty much just look at that first page and get most of your information right off of there. So again, just going over the different types of stuff that you might get. Text messages are typically received from your smart number. If you're leveraging the automation that BoldTrail offers, you will commonly see these responses in your dashboard. Additionally, if your smart number also sends you a text notification, it will show up in your activity stream. So this is the part that smart campaign AI starts to tie into. Because if you get a property boost and you get a contact from that property boost that you've never personally contacted, and then they end up on one of our default smart campaigns, the very first communication they get from you might be that automated text. So when you see this, you might have to figure out, where is this person coming from? And I'm going to just quickly switch over to BoldTrail and go into context so I can show you guys what that means. So if you were to get a dashboard notification, go down here and find one. Find a text, new text. So the reason I wanted to show this is, if you want to find out where the contact came from, if you don't have that information of, okay, who is this person? When I'm responding to them, what do I have to know going in? If you scroll down into the contact along the left-hand side, you can see the system information that came back for this individual, where they came in from, the team website, what the source was. It was a lead ad. So you'll get a little information of what they might have searched for, how they ended up in your box instead of someone else's, to give you a little bit of a leg up when you make that first call or send that first text. And that is, again, something that's always available to you in KV Core under the contact themselves. So if you ever want to find out more, Just go into the contact, and then you can scroll down and see the different activities that have occurred so far for them. So that's text. Questions. Questions will generate a unique email notification. The subject in the email will say, question received, and the email will include the contact details, the property they're asking about, and their question. Questions may be asked from contacts via your BoldTrail website. Whenever they're viewing a property, there's a call to action where the question might be asked. And they selected it up there. I haven't seen that a lot, but I know the more we push people to visit our websites, the more we improve our websites so that people's first contact point is coming through them. We're going to get more and more of these questions and more of these contact points coming from these side parts of KV Core or BoldTrail. After they fill out the question, it generates the tile in your activity screen. And then all you really have to do to answer it is just click the answer button and put in your response. And that will get it back to that client. And again, start moving that ball towards getting them into your contact list. So, hot leads. In a case where there's a fire or flame icon on the property photo, it indicates a hot lead. And this isn't something that a person designated. This is tied to the AI. So a hot lead is someone who has triggered 4 or more behavioral alerts. There is a link in here, so when I'm done, I'll make sure everyone gets the training so they can follow these links and find out more. But essentially what a behavioral alert is BoldTrail and KV Core track our clients or our potential customers and what they click on. If they're clicking on a specific property a few times, that's a behavioral alert. If they're visiting the website a few times within a certain period of time, that's a behavioral alert. It's essentially there to try to weed out the people that are just browsing and partially interested, and the people who are really looking to get information and move the ball forward. And the way that they've determined these hot leads is essentially based on their activity on the website. The more activity they have on BoldTrail that BoldTrail can track, the more it's going to flag those individuals so that the realtors seeing that know to take action. Because I feel like the greatest thing you'll learn out of working in BoldTrail and working through this is how AI needs help. AI can do that first contact point. It can do the back and forth sometimes pretty well, but where it struggles is in that trying to really identify what a person needs and how to serve those needs versus treating everyone the same. Because AI is going to be really good at, catching someone and sending out that first message to get them to respond. But once they've responded, they need to know that there's a person on the other end helping. Because again, BoldTrail will give them properties they might like. But once they want to start doing more, it's going to need a human being behind, or they're going to probably unfortunately see that all the other realtors offering that same AI service don't stand up to you. So again, if you do see, when you're scrolling in your activity feed, that flame, just pay a little closer attention to that selection. Look at the contact, look at what they're looking at a little more, and again, maybe even pick up the phone. Again, the buttons down there, while you can call from within KV Core or BoldTrail, I would probably just pick up your phone and do it yourself, given that if you're making that first call to the client and you want them to see your direct number, that's a much better way of ensuring that that contact point you make is coming right back to you. So we can move on. Yep, go ahead.
I don't know if we could stop you while you're doing this.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
If you go ahead and email the client from this program, will you be able to put your personalized photo and more of a professional?
Yep. There is a customized email editor within BoldTrail, and I could probably do a whole training just on the customized email part. But the nice thing is if you go into, say, your connected Gmail and email them from there, BoldTrail tracks your Gmail that's associated with KV Core. So it'll incorporate your email response you made directly in Gmail and then track it into that contact here in BoldTrail. So again, that's the goal I have for everyone too, is getting all your interconnections here so that you're not having to go check 3 different emails essentially to get information about clients. You know the best and quickest way to get back information from BoldTrail and from your contact points with customers. Because I know some of you might have 3 or 4 emails. You might have 5 different programs you go check on a daily basis. It can be hard to put your time effectively towards all that. So again, in this, I'm just going to try to give you the best possible ways to use your time on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to get return on investment. What is the best return you can get on your investment of time and money towards BoldTrail? But again, this is perfect because we're moving into where you would invest your time and your money. And I mean this in the sense of Property Boost. You can't see the screenshots as well on the big screen, but this one on the left, Property Boost, if you've used BoldTrail, most of you probably use something like that. Again, it's a way to advertise your listings. It's a great way to get contacts back into KV Core. But again, there's an investment upfront to get back that return. Versus as we move over here, landing pages, squeeze pages, these are the ways that we can leverage free advertising essentially, but our targeted audience is smaller. Because Property Boost gives us the ability to advertise to people that aren't currently within our sphere or contact list. The landing pages and squeeze pages, which we'll go over, are our way to leverage all the other associated contacts we don't have to pay for. And then, again, looking holistically, you can get an idea of how many contacts you're getting from your paid advertisements and how many you're getting from your free ones or the ones you do yourself. Again, this way to get in here, that little build your pipeline button brings you right in here to these lead engine tools. So I just, again, wanted to show you off of that main page, where are these connection points going for you? Again, Property Boost, I already talked about it a little bit, but if you haven't used it, again, it's a way to advertise, capture your leads, and then try to nurture them over time to get them to, either purchase, sell, or any of the other associated things we do. Again, going over the other ones. Again, most of these are just different niches within the paid advertising side. Property Boost, automated Property Boost. The only difference is automated is anytime you get a listing, KV Core offers you the ability to, by default, buy Property Boost, so that anytime you get a new listing, it automatically starts doing it for you. Same thing in these, a few of these other ones where Leads 360 and Seller Leads are, again, trying to, put money towards getting leads closer to the buying and selling point. Smart Social Leads is more focused on the social media side. Nosy Neighbor is, the way I kind of see it is KV Core offers specific zip codes and then allows you to advertise specifically within those zip codes from a paper and electronic sense to try to target a specific audience, essentially. My Agent Finder, my Different Expert Plan, and Max Tech Lead Concierge are, again, just different parts of the kind of nurturing lead part. Max Tech, I actually worked with someone not that long ago on this, where, again, what they do is taking those first connection points with those potential new clients and try to nurture them to the point that when they hand them off to you, they're in a much, much more, selling point or buying point sort of place. There is a cost towards that, and it can be, considerable. So definitely look into that if it is interesting to you. But again, look at the fine print and check with me if you need help on the back end, because sometimes the back end of that can get a little bit wonky. Playbooks overview. So a playbook is a collection of tactics or methods that simplify an action, like a best practice to-do list. It's often described as a documented step-by-step process related to a repeatable task. Playbooks give agents the ability to get into BoldTrail, then within this action, have a list of all the features BoldTrail has to support them on their journey. BoldTrails, or playbooks, were created to simplify the user experience, make it easier for new agents to begin using the platform, and understand how to be a successful real estate agent using BoldTrail. So the different playbooks they have, the first one they did was promote a listing, and it takes you through a curated set of activities to streamline the listing promotion process, combining different tools within BoldTrail to work for you. And again, just so that you guys can see it, we'll go in and look. And what it really does is goes through, okay, if you were to promote a listing, what are the different steps you're going to do? You know, scrolling down, it'll go through, you know, notifying agents, announcing your listing, leveraging social media, follow up and communicating, you know, the different plays. Like it will go step by step telling you what it wants you to do if you want to succeed in that, you know, step-by-step process that KV Core has designed. Now, this is, again, for someone who may be new to Realty as well as new to BoldTrail, because, again, it breaks down all of those communication points between you and the outside Realty sphere that is outside of Remax, as well as what to do with print materials, what to do with potentially, you know, other advertising buys. So, you know, the Gather Your Sphere, that's the second playbook, which is much more around you're getting into KV4 KV Core or BoldTrail for the first time, and you're trying to put in to this system all of the people you know. That can be a lot for some people. You know, if you already have all of your contacts in an Excel spreadsheet, that might not be for you. But if you're starting from, I have to look on my phone and find out who I know, I got to go through a black book, that might be helpful for you because it does break down not just all the people you might think of on the front end of who you know, but all of those associated connections, sort of like a, you know, a family tree of who are the branches from that person you know. Because it's not just, you know, the person you made that contact point with, it's all of their associated people that you could leverage to grow your book of business. And again, most of these are kind of text-based, where again, you're going to look at it, you're going to follow step by step the different you know, tasks that KV Core gives you. One thing I do want to say, because it'll come up later, about Gathering Your Sphere is due to recent legal changes in Minnesota, there appears to have been differences now on how we can make text communications to contacts. So it used to be if you were going to import all of your contacts into KV Core, you could immediately start texting these people using the automated smart campaigns to get them to respond and work with you. Unfortunately, due to changes to those laws and now requiring people to opt in to text messages, if you are going to do a mass import and put all of your people into KV Core, all of them by default are going to be opted out of text communication. You can still email them, you can still call them, but they will not be able to receive automated text communication by default. You would have to put them in manually and select that they can receive text communication, or there's a whole process of if they respond to our smart number, by responding to that smart number, they're opting into that text communication. So again, that is important because if you go to add everyone and then immediately start trying to leverage these smart campaigns, you're going to run into the fact that a lot of those contacts, unfortunately, cannot be utilized in that way that we want. And that is pretty recent. I think it's only 2 or 3 months that that's maybe been occurring. So it is something that it might not affect everyone's contacts, but if you're putting in new contacts going forward. Work Your Sphere, again, is once you get everyone in there, what do you do to try to communicate and leverage those people now from a communication standpoint? This is probably not going to make sense at first to a lot of people, but the smart campaigns and AI are running off of these hashtags. So hashtags applied within BoldTrail are, again, just a identifier that BoldTrail puts on each individual client to identify where they're coming from. Smart number, when a contact is added to your system via a tracked call. So some of these can be on multiple clients. A client could be on a smart number, they could be shown as a showing request, they could be, again, listed from, the property boost. You know, all of these indicators are system generated or generated by you to separate and individualize each contact. So that if you were to try to create a smart campaign tied to, let's say, a specific area where let's say gathered a list of people in a, not an assisted living, but like a gated complex. So you want to take all those contacts you just added to KV Core from, say, 5900 Excelsior Way and only target them in your smart campaign, because all of your messaging is about, hey, I'm selling houses in this area, or there's new listings in this area, to try to grab that targeted audience. And by putting these hashtags into the clients, you're allowing the system to differentiate when it goes to send an email. I want you to send an email to anyone who was on my property boost list, but also in a specific area, or somebody on my property boost list, but also listed as having responded to a text message before. Again, we have a lot of things that are added automatically, but then we have the entire imagination of ourselves on how we can categorize and differentiate our clients to best target them with these automated campaigns. Again, I could spend an entire day talking about the automation and the hashtags, but the best way to learn it is to start doing it and kind of do your trial and error runs on where you get response rates. Smart number overview and facts. This is something that I think a lot of realtors don't utilize a lot, given that our cell phones are in our pocket, and most of the time we don't go to make calls on our computer. But it is there, and I want you to kind of understand a little bit about why it's there. So when you see something coming in to BoldTrail referencing your smart number or referencing a tracked call, you know how they came in. So the smart number is a feature built into each office. A smart number can exist for each office, team, or agent. To receive a dedicated agent phone line, a separate personal smart number will be needed to be purchased through the marketplace. So most of us don't have our own personal smart number. Most of us have a smart number that's tied to, again, our office or the organization that we're within. There is potential to get your own, and we'll go over a little bit of why, you might want one. The smart campaigns allow custom codes that can be used. They always prompt to access information via your mobile office, and the way you present your number matters. So what this is KV Core allows us, if you've seen, or heard, text this number, text a code to this number. That is a way for, KV Core to get those texts, incorporate that contact information from that individual, and get them into KV Core. You could use the custom text codes that it references there, or what I've been doing is leveraging your QR code within KV Core, because from an advertising standpoint, you can much more easily put that on any of your promotional material versus, again, getting someone to text into this smart number. So I'm going to take a quick side detour, and again, go into the embeds within KV Core to just show everyone this, because these QR codes that are now ubiquitous in our world are on every single person's KV Core website. And this little QR code goes directly to my website. And while I'm not a realtor, I have a website solely for the ability for me to do tests here for you guys on improvements within the websites and things we can do. But from a standpoint of why you would want to utilize this, when I brought up the smart number, It's so that anyone that is trying to, say, check out information from a listing you have, or this is on, a leave behind material at an open house, them clicking on that gets them to your website, which can then get them to your, again, I'll go over this in the training, your featured areas widget, which once they get in here, they start looking at houses, and they're in your KV Core. So for me, my goal is getting as many realtors upgraded with these websites with as much individualized information as possible on what you serve, so that each visit gives them much more to look at. Because if you've never gone into KV Core and you go and try to find your website, you're going to probably find something that's generic, that might have out-of-date information, that might not really differentiate you at all from the person next to you. And, while it's daunting at first to come into this site and start to customize and do a bunch of stuff, again, by the end of this training, I'm going to go over a few ways you can go in here and within a half hour, customize your website to look different from the realtor next to you and provide a more personalized approach to that visitor that you wouldn't have had an hour before. And we'll get to that when I finish my training. So again, the smart number stuff, I put it on here just because some people do have questions about it. I wanted to add the text deliverability information because this might come up if you are attempting to make contact points to a client and it's not going through. It will try to identify to you why it's not going through. Either they unsubscribed, they blocked the smart number, it's a landline, the carrier is blocking it, or I think there was a fifth one, but it almost never came up. But if you see here, there's a lot of reasons why communication might not go through. And the law of averages, communication not going through to one person isn't the end of the world, but over the aggregate in general, I want most of your communications to get through to someone. And that's why thinking through is text the best way to get to this person? Is email the best way to get to this person? Is general advertising the best way? Or in person? You kind of have to merge all of them to best capture the greatest number of people and get those in there so that you can nurture a few of them to the point of buying. And again, if anyone wants to learn more about smart numbers, we'll definitely be able to go over that later. But I don't want to spend the entire time on it. I did want to go over a few of these terms because as I get into the more in-depth kind of walkthroughs I'm going to go through, these terms are going to come up. So smart campaign, each time you think of a way to handle a contact, chances are you can incorporate that plan into a campaign. The goal is to automate as much as possible within your contacts so that you can use your time to do the things that computers cannot. So smart campaign, easy way to think of it is just automated communication. Smart number is your voice over IP phone number that's connected to your database. Landing page is a one-page website used to generate leads. Squeeze page is a link you build when clicked on by a consumer, squeezes them back to your website where they can sign up as a lead. So these might seem like they're kind of the same. Landing is more of, I want to grab somebody, but I don't know who they are. I don't quite have enough to kind of target them. Versus a squeeze page is, hey, I think I might know what this person wants. Let's say I met them at an open house and they're looking for, a house in a specific school district. I can grab a squeeze page. I can design it based around a school district they might like and get them houses that fit that category. So you're trying to essentially bait the hook versus just throwing a hook in the water. Going over a few more terms, CRM, customer relationship management, that's what BoldTrail really is. IDX, data exchange, integration. Again, most of these are just going to come up from time to time. These are kind of important in terms of how they reference contacts. Their main way of referencing clients in general is contact. And then severe is just one of their terms to indicate people that
you know, but may or may not do business with you, but know of you, may refer people to you based on just personal connection. But again, it's a generalized term of people you might know. These are for categorizing your leads. So status is where the lead is right now in the kind of process, whether they're active, prospective, client, where on the client journey are they? Lead type, similar but kind of more set in stone. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller, renter, vendor, or agent? Hashtags are the custom labels beyond the ones that KV Core offers, and sources are like, where did they come from? Okay, and again, most of these I think we talked about just in the sense of the training. So now I can go into the fun part, which is going into KV Core. So again, one of the things that I wanted to show people, because again, I brought up the website as one of the key parts of KV Core that people should put time and effort into. When you get into KV Core BoldTrail, you go down here to this little globe, and by clicking on it, it takes you right to your website settings so we can start to customize. I'll go over the first page, which is these first selections are just generalized templates. There's only 4, and they all are pretty similar. Click through them if you want to kind of test how they look. Again, I can show you in mine initially, and then if we were to change it, how going from, I think right now I have champion. If we were to do warrior, it shows you, it just changes a bit of the borders and the barriers in between the selections. There isn't a great deal of customization or differences between them. And the reason why, really, and I might be making this a personal statement, but is because I think KV Core wants you to pay for it. BoldTrail and KV Core offer premium website designs that you can pay for. While they do look nice sometimes, to me, the idea of telling a realtor to spend $1,200 on a website doesn't fly with me. When for free within an hour session, one-on-one we could customize your website to the degree that it's not going to be, exactly the same as one of these, paid ones, but it's going to be close enough to satisfy what you want, to customize your website to look out and stand out from the people around you. And again, the ways that I would do it with you is, again, by going through and identifying the different color templates you want for your site. Identifying from a background image standpoint, what do you want to display? They offer you the ability, beyond the stock photos that are there for everyone, to upload your own. You can upload your own background image. There is an ability, I can't unfortunately tell you how I got it, but I have a streaming video on mine. I didn't add it. KV Core added it for me. But I know it's possible because I have it. So if anyone's part of this Bonhoff group, I'm sorry, I don't work for you, but KV Core thinks I do. So, but again, this is possible within the apparatus we have here. Some things are going to be made hard because I think KV Core doesn't want to make it easy for us to customize everything. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to make people pay for it. But to the degree that I don't give up, I have found numerous ways to replicate most of the stuff they ask you to pay for in a free sense using what they give us. One of the things that I would say, again, I would have everyone add, even though if I tell everyone to add it, you're not going to stand out, is this, featured areas widget, because I feel like it is something that everyone in this room probably does. You identify areas you sell more, and you know more about houses in that area. So I don't know anything about houses in Bloomington, Ridgefield, Eakin. I just, again, created this as a template to show people what you can do, because you have about 9 different area selections. Within them, you can select the city, you can select it down to county. You can identify even down to square foot, price range, beds, how many houses you want this to offer. With this being the case, after you add all your cities, there's additional customization that I would even recommend going in and changing out your pictures. I used AI for mine just because I wanted to just get it created and not have any images that I have to worry about being proprietary or from somebody else's information. But if you were to create this for yourself, I would honestly recommend going in and looking at the different areas you're servicing and picking out pictures or landmarks that best identify that you know that area. I use the example of somebody I was working with sells houses over where Prince lived in, what is that? Chanhassen. So again, we used Prince's house for the Chanhassen image. We used, I think, certain, water towers, identifying a city, or if there's a really, identifiable park, or, natural landmark for a city. Whatever can give the visitor to your website an impression that this guy or this gal knows the area I'm looking for, it gets them clicking on it. Because your goal is getting more clicks on your website. Because just getting someone to visit your website isn't enough. It's getting them here and getting them to do something on here. And it's come to the point where, your initial website page isn't the end all. There are ways I've been, working to design custom pages, which would be these little selections up here you have for search, sell, your agent resources. We can add our own selection of different contact points you can use, because let's say you have a side business that might attract people into your website. Let's say that, again, you have a connection with, other retailers, other contractors, again, your sphere of people you do business with. The helping them helps you. Getting more people into your website, getting more people clicking on stuff on your website, getting, again, people visiting your website potentially to work with you. All of these things can be utilized within that exact same place here, because our ability to customize and create is fully within our grasp. This custom widget, I've played around with it a little bit in order to do things like, again, embed a YouTube video on here. Again, I was able to add like a sign up to, meet with me kind of stuff. Again, the trial and error part of it is still going to be there, because if we're designing something specific to you, we're going to do it together and have to work out the kinks. But the nice thing is, with the fact that I have my own website, we can do all of this in a safe environment where it's not going to affect your website or anything identified to your clients until we figured out the kinks and, enabled it essentially. So that is, again, a little bit about your website. One other thing that's pretty easy for people if you're going to go in and start trying to do little things in your website, going in and adding your Google reviews. If you go into your web and IDX, under your site content, there's a way to add a testimonial. And while you can incorporate Zillow testimonials automatically, you can add in personal testimonials you've gotten from people. You can go to your Google review and, again, just copy paste your Google reviews directly in here. And if you did, I'll just show you what it looks like. That is the best. And I know I am advertising myself, but I just want to see, after I do it, if it comes right up. And I've done this enough, it should. So when it does, scroll down. Where am I? I have to change my said. I will go find someone else, because mine did not add. So, down here. So once you add in your Google reviews, this section, what your neighbors are saying, then just starts coming up on your website. So again, within, it takes probably 15, 20 minutes, depending on how many Google reviews you have, to add that to your website, but it starts to personalize your site more and more to get it away from the default stock website that everyone is handed when they start. The other reason that's important for adding stuff like this is the more unique content you put onto your website, the higher you end up in Google search results. That stock websites don't differentiate themselves from anyone else's when it comes to a Google search result. The more and more unique information you put on your website, the more, again, things you can give Google to reference in their search engine bumps you up their algorithm a little bit and gets you higher when somebody were to, again, search for, say, a city and a realtor name. And again, this is all the backside stuff that Google doesn't share with everyone. But again, I have done the tests over the course of the past year with customizing people's websites and kind of going back and seeing how does Google's search results change, and they do. Other thing you're going to want to do, again, this isn't part of the KV Core training, but you're definitely going to want to go look at your Bing, your Google, your different search engine results for yourself and make sure that information is accurate. It can be a headache sometimes going back and forth to Google and getting them to update it because they force you to prove that you are the business owner. But again, if you want to better improve your search results, you want to better improve the ability of people to find you effectively, getting in there and updating that information will have an effect. Even something as simple as, I had one realtor buy a P.O. box because he didn't want to show up at that exact same PIN as everyone else in that regional Remax office. Because if you were to Google, say, the Bloomington office or the Savage office, every realtor is going to share that PIN in that office. Versus he threw himself across the street in a P.O. box. So when I search for him, I see his link twice, where everyone else is just listed once. Again, a P.O. box isn't a very big investment, but from a search engine standpoint, it gives you a little bit of a different identifier than everyone else. Again, this is just certain little things you can do in your website. There is a blog function. If you already blog, you can incorporate and add your blog posts. What I brought up before in terms of those custom pages, that is where I'm going to kind of go into a little bit more now. Because there are landing pages you can create. If you've been in KV Core long enough, you probably have seen something like this. This is one of their standard landing pages. What it's there for is to allow you to create a quick and easy website to post onto social media and get people to come back to it, click on this, and put in their information. Because by putting it in and seeing the list now, they get their contact information into KV Core and BoldTrail and allow you to capture them into your contact list. In doing this, you can use a few different ways to get here. I went into the web and IDX way to get into creating this landing page because I feel you have a little more customization there. But there is also the ability when you go back to here and you're going to build your pipeline, you can go and also build your landing page from in here. This one I opened just doesn't give you as much ability to customize the website, but you can say, go here and say, what is it? Open house. Open house, 1650, 82nd Street. And if you don't want any of this additional text, you can double click to click it off. And again, up here at the top, you can swap out, get back here.
Todd?
Yeah?
Steve, sorry not to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
The heater's blowing, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk a little louder. Usually I get told I talk too loud, so. But yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for letting me know. But again, these landing pages are, again, the easiest thing that you can create in BoldTrail. If you're going to post something onto Facebook, Instagram, if you're going to, again, try to send it out en masse, trying to get a few people to click back on it. These, again, you don't have to spend a ton of time on it. Your primary goal on these landing pages is just to get it created and get it sent out, because it can't start getting people back until you've made it for the first time. I want to show you up here, if you go and you're going to create one, you can change the background image. There is also a way, because I brought up doing the open house. You can't see it on this screen, and it's a little hard for me to, there it is. Primary MLS image. You can literally put your MLS number in, and it will put up a picture of the house as the background. So quick and easy, put the MLS number in as your background, quickly write out your text on there, make sure to leave the sign up sheet at the bottom to make sure people have to sign up. And then yeah, send it out. These are the hashtag button. So if you do want to identify when you create the landing page, why you're creating it, if it's tied to a specific property, I brought up 1650. I would just add 1650 for the hashtag. And that allows you, for any context that come in having clicked on this page, you can categorize them within BoldTrail. Up here, requiring phone is not a bad idea, just given the fact that you don't want to get back contact information that's not actionable. If you don't have a phone number, if you don't have an email, you really can't do much with the name. So again, that is landing pages.
So when you say send that out,
I'll show you. So you make it. I'm not even going to change anything because I'm not going to send it. But once you make it and you hit save, now you got this little button up here. And if we've already incorporated your Facebook, Instagram, Indeed, Pinterest, I don't know who uses Pinterest anymore, but again, the primary ones, you can instantly share it right over. I didn't tie my Facebook in, but most of you, if you go into BoldTrail and we get into your profile, one of the key things I would take as your leave behind is get in here. You know, again, you can play around on your website, but because your website also comes back to your profile to get information, you also want to update your profile. If you like your picture, don't worry about that. But down here in your edit profile, getting all your social medias tied in. Your Facebook URLs, your Twitter URLs, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. So there's already 5 there that I'd say most realtors already have. You know, if you have a business page, there is a way to tie your business page in. You kind of have to trick the system because BoldTrail does not like business pages. I don't know why. we run a business, and yet they only like personal Facebook pages for these links, but we can make it work. That's all you got to do. But again, all you'd have to do if you were going to incorporate Facebook is once you log into Facebook, just go up on the top of the screen, grab the website address for your Facebook, and copy paste it right into that field. That's all you need to do. Because then once you've done that, after you created your landing page, you can just easily link it right out. What you can also do, because you might have created the landing page and forgot to send it, when we go back in and go into your landing pages, we can go to your past landing pages, which shows anything that you've created in the past. And then you can either just copy the link, which if you copy the link, delete, it just takes you directly to the landing page. Because all it is it's a identifiable direct website just for you. And you'll have your past ones, you'll have, again, how many views, how many people clicked on it. So you can, at a glance, see what's worked or not. You know, again, and it's the kind of thing that you play around with the graphics and the material until you find what is the best way to get people to click back on stuff. It's sort of like, I think of it where you're trying to use the same thing we use on people doom scrolling on their phone. What are the things that people are enticed to click on and look at? It could be like hey, what are the top 10 things people forget when they're selling their house? You know, it doesn't have to be an open house. It can be, what is your value add to consumers? What is information you have that someone else might not have? Again, it can be the, you know, hey, look at this cute dog. You know, it really can get down to whatever method you use from an advertising standpoint to capture someone's attention, turn that into getting them to your website. Turn that into getting them over to something to find out more about you. Because differentiation is the only thing that's going to set you apart in the future of realty, which is going to get more and more depersonalized. You know, we've come from the point of every realty transaction was uber personal to the point of it doesn't get personal until people come and sign papers. You know, where again, you might feel like, hey, you invested all this time with that individual, but where is the loyalty? And it really, I think, comes down to the individual relationships that you build in this business to keep people there. You know, and again, make sure that the time you're investing is going to get back to you. Because there are, you know, I didn't go into this as much for this class because it's more something you would do as an admin, but you can go in and look at your, you know, performance essentially on, you know, how many leads are you converting? How many are you engaging? How many are you turning into, again, you know, closed contracts? You know, and this is also helpful too, just to find out when's the last time you got in here? You know, because KV Core gives me the ability to go kind of track who's been in here recently and what they've done. And it helps me, again, know if I worked with a realtor and I'm helping them, again, get their contacts imported, I can find out, did they import their contacts yet? Did they create any contacts yet? How many contacts do they have in the different categories? So there's a lot of data that BoldTrail is going to offer us in the future. We just got to start using it. Because until we get people in, until we get as much of our data into the system, we can't leverage any of the tools that it gives us. You know, again, I want to go over a few other things just because, again, if you've never been in BoldTrail or KV Core too much, something like just adding a contact might be daunting. You know, and I'm going to add myself, even though sometimes I get communications from realtors because they think I'm trying to buy. I'm adding myself just so you can see what it asks for in that process of going in. fine. Perfect. So, this permission to contact is what I brought up earlier with those laws and changes due to text messaging, is if you were to select yes, 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 you're essentially enabling the system now to communicate with this individual, myself, via the automated methods that it gives you. I'm not going to add my address, but I would essentially be a seller. Smart campaign. These are the automated campaigns that are already in existence. I don't think it's giving me all of them because I am just an admin. But if you were to make this for yourself, you should be able to select, okay, I have a new buyer campaign or a seller campaign. You could select that for this contact at the starting point. Identifying a note, what is it, 7632 future seller. And add contact. Okay, once you add them, they bring you right into the client journey. You can go down here and add any additional hashtags you want. What was it? You can make a new one if you want. And again, that just adds it on there so that you can target your activities to that person. There we go. So yeah, it even shows it sent me an email. And again, these are those automated communication points that, again, I didn't plan to email myself. The system saw that I visited either my website or another realtor's website, and it grabbed me as a potential contact point. Using this, though, allows you to find out, okay, let's say you created them a month ago, have they done anything since then? Have they responded to any of your automated texts? If you did set them up on one of these smart campaigns, do they have a search alert active? You know, what we could do is you meet a contact at a, open house. They say, hey, I'm looking in this area for this kind of a house. You can go in here, or again, KV Core might have already done it if they visited the website, and just draw on a map, okay, this person wants to, what is it, draw area. Okay. There we go. And what this does is once you were to draw the area and apply it, so now it'll return any houses in that area I drew and start sending them to me. And you can do this specifically for clients already in your contact list. Again, if you think that they are looking, or again, you just kind of know generally where they live, just draw a box around. Maybe they're interested in looking. Maybe they're like my wife and just love looking at houses. Even though interest rates aren't ready for us to move yet. That might change. And again, if you get her now, 5 years from now when she is ready to tell me to move, then again, you've already gotten those contact points in. Because one realtor who was supposed to be here today, again, I worked with him and I followed one contact from early 2021 through selling in 2024. It was a 3-year time span of contacts going back and forth in KV Core, and the guy eventually bought. But again, 3 years. Can you invest 3 years of back and forth? Personally, maybe not. But in an automated sense, where 99% of the communication is going out from the system without you having to touch it, beyond a few little, massages here or there, or handholds here or there, this is the kind of stuff that you can leverage quite easily. Because yeah, maybe you aren't ready to do it right when you walk out of this class, but after a one-on-one session with me, yes, you will get the majority of these things done, because what you're going to do between now and then is think about what you want to do. Because that's the one thing I can't do. I can't, unfortunately, get in everyone's head and figure out why, or what each realtor does in that individualized way to set themselves apart. But the nice thing is, by you offering that, I can just explain from a technology standpoint how to incorporate that in here. Because we can incorporate your own personal communication in on each smart campaign. Because while I'll go into the smart campaigns now, you can, down here, where is it? Oh, it's in marketing. Marketing. Okay. So smart campaigns, right here. Okay. So when you get into smart campaigns, first thing I'd have you look for, again, I brought it up when I talked about the dashboard, is that selection up on top to make sure it's selecting for you. You want to make sure if it does default to the company level, you just select yourself so that any campaigns you make are yours directly. Going through, it kind of shows these are the some of the campaigns that were already there. What I did for myself is I took one of the default campaigns, default new lead buyer, copied it so I could make changes for myself. And then what you can do is, looking over this, the default campaign traditionally is about 2 years worth of communication points. I normally recommend paring it down to probably that first month or so, because you're going to know within a month whether your automated communications are working or not. You're not going to get a person finally responding after 6 months. Most of the time it'll be within these first attempts, either this first email attempt, text message attempt, or second email attempt, by that first week. If they're going to respond, they likely will. And the way, again, to try to best increase the odds of them responding is to not just take these default smart campaigns and use them as they are, because if, again, someone's looking for a house and they get 52 emails from 52 realtors with the exact same verbiage here, because the default campaign is given to everyone, how are they going to know which of those 52 realtors they want to work with? I would say the way they do it is by looking at which one actually put the effort in to put this into their own words. And yeah, you don't have to spend too much time rewriting it. You don't even have to do it yourself. You could throw this into ChatGPT, let it kick back out, and just change it enough to change it for you. You can also, again, by going in and looking at the ability to use the advanced templates, you can start essentially from scratch building your email. Somebody had that question, essentially, like, can you go in and design the email you're going to send out to clients? Well, this would be exactly where you would start that. And if you're comfortable doing it within KV Core, great. But if you're more comfortable doing it externally and then copying the information over, I found that works too. It's whatever works for you to design it, I will find a way to help you incorporate it. Because it's that personal touch that you would add to this smart campaign that will determine, I think, its success or failure. And it's not going to be having to wait 450 days to find out was this successful or not. You're going to know based on starting it and then just tracking your dashboard connections from it, whether or not it's working. If you're getting people responding and, asking you questions, going back and forth, great. If all you're getting is stop, then you might have to pivot and find out, what is it? Is it this set of contacts I'm trying to reach out to that none of them want information? Is it, they're getting inundated with ads all the time, so they're just over it? For me, it's the data is going to be there once you've kicked off your side, which is getting communications sent out. And action items, again, once you get done here and want to start getting into KV Core and start doing some of this, is dashboards, your first link. The second one is contacts. It's probably your best place to start at and put the time in, because the more people you put in, the more you can take action on. Again, normally I would have recommended about a month or two ago, putting everyone in en masse. We work and do it via a database and all that. I probably wouldn't recommend that anymore. Just given the changes to text message laws and the fact that text messages are a primary way of us utilizing these smart campaigns. If you're primarily going to do it via email, we can do it automated wise and add all the contacts at the same point. But if it's going to be you're looking to email and text, for those we want to text, we're going to have to do some manual contact creations just to get around the hoop they made for us from a law standpoint when it comes to those opt-ins. So again, I've been going now for a little bit over an hour. Does anyone have any questions? I know I threw everything at you. So go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the dashboard?
Yep.
And how does the dashboard update when you do something with the dashboard?
So the dashboard,
Yeah.
it's like constantly updating. The dashboard is any activity tied either to you as a realtor or your company level in KV Core. So when you look at my dashboard, since I'm an admin kind of generally, I get everybody's contacts and everybody's activities. So mine is going all the time. If I were, what was your name, sir? I can, Steve, if you want, what was your last name? I'll even go to your dashboard. What was that?
WESTMAR.
There we go. So this is your dashboard. So again, it just shows you who's recently responded to you and what they viewed.
Like, for instance, I responded to Herman.
Yep.
It doesn't go away.
No, it shows you that you responded, and then it'll show if they respond to you. And then if you want to go look in and look at the back and forth for Herman, this is where you'd go. Because then you can go and see lead requires SMS opt-in, so the email back and forth is working for him. You just couldn't text him from the system. It's why it grayed out the text right there. You can't text that individual, but it will show you, a received email from him and your sent email. So,
But for instance, I have different people that look at 2 or 3, go back to the dashboard.
Yep.
So you can see, like, Wayne Larson, if you look, he's probably looked at 3 different properties over the last few days.
Yep.
What, if I email him or if I've called him, I can ride down the road and make a call to Wayne, but it doesn't show anything that I've done.
Yeah, because it wants you to track it within KV Core. So it's like, in a way, if you're going to do these tasks, sometimes in KV Core it'll give you a task to say, hey, you have to go call someone. But once we've done it, it's that method of in KV Core, it wants you to go click a button and add in what you talked about, what the result of that conversation was, so that it will track it. For me, that is a use of your time that I can't say is always effective, because if you know in your head what you did with him, you don't need KV Core to remind you what you were talking about with him or what you helped him with. It's mainly just a way for KV Core to remind you if it thinks you've left this guy hanging here for a little bit, it'll remind you, being like, hey, look at him, he's got the flame, so he's looking at stuff. It just doesn't want you to lose track of someone. But it's that way of automation, that the automated mechanism for it watching you and watching your activity, that isn't as robust as it could be. Where it doesn't always know that you picked up your cell phone and reached out to him.
So the dashboard will basically remain the same the new stuff will come in each day.
Yep.
And you may respond to the new stuff of that day, but it won't, like an older CRM I had, it'd take it off the list.
Oh, so it would kick it, so it put it onto a resolved side. I will look into how it allows us to resolve stuff, because for me, sometimes it's those additional button clicks you might not have time for that can be difficult. Telling a realtor, oh, you have to go into KV Core and click this to get it to do that. It's a game of numbers. Is it as effective of a use of our time to go in and mark this stuff off, or is it better if you have your own to-do list and you're marking it off on your personal to-do list, so you can say, hey, I can ignore KV Core reminding me about this stuff because I've already done it. Other thing I'd recommend, and this is probably a good segue into it, is getting KV Core on your phone. Because let's say you're out in the field, you're doing stuff, and again, Wayne responds to you. I'm using my phone more now, and I can't do it as much as a realtor because I don't have that communication back and forth with customers. But it's the finding ways that I could easily go on my phone and mark something off. Let's say you worked with Wayne and did something with him. Being able to open Wayne's contact on your phone and just hit a button or click something that says, hey, I worked with Wayne and did this, so that it could throw it off your list and put it onto the backside. I don't think the way the dashboard presents itself in a way of, here's all your tasks, and as you do them, it clears it off. It's more of that constantly refreshing list of activities that it's going to keep throwing stuff into at all times. So it's...
I know how the computer or the CRM thinks.
Yep.
Because it's how it thinks, and I have to think how it does.
Yeah, no, it's really looking, I think, the way BoldTrail explained it to me, and they probably are having a webinar right now explaining the changes, but it's their goal in their admin certification training I took a month ago was they're trying to incorporate the AI to give you as much information as possible and take actions that you would have taken on your own ahead of time. So it's like creating a search alert for a customer. It could require a realtor to come in and do that personally, but KV Core and BoldTrail have started to do the whole, like, I'm going to look at where this guy's been clicking and build a search alert based on what he's done, and just do that on our behalf. Same thing with certain of these automated campaigns, like, you wishing some guy happy birthday. You can set up birthdays in KV Core, and it can automated, send out a birthday greeting every year, which again is nice for the people who have thousands of contacts and can't remember all of their birthdays. Anniversaries of purchasing or selling a home, you can put that in there. And based on having that information already input into the contact, it can take those personalized actions that you would have otherwise done and just do it for you. Because you designed, say, how you want the email to look. You designed so you can make Wayne, or Herman, I think it was, feel like you were wishing him a happy birthday the same as you did the other year, but then that's just off your plate. You don't have to wish him a happy birthday because the system can do it. It can wish him a happy anniversary of buying his house, or, his child's birth. All those little things that give someone that warm fuzzy that you might not otherwise. But no, I wouldn't use the dashboard as the, hey, I'm not doing stuff good, because it will make you feel bad strictly from a standpoint of it wants you to go click a button when you call someone. And I don't think any realtor in this room has enough time to go click a button every time they call someone from their cell phone. It just isn't feasible in the long term unless we incorporate everything into our smart number and have every call go out from KV Core, because that is the future they envision probably, is instead of us all using our personal cell phones and making calls on our own, it would do all of this on its own. Okay, it found a contact. That contact's hot. It wants to get it to a realtor. The automated system finds out just as much information as it could about who this person is, what they need, and then it just gives it to a realtor, and it sends them the call. And again, gives you an update before you get the call, who the person is, what they're looking for. And again, it's the AI giving you what's called a warm transfer in a customer service standpoint. That's the future of KV Core. That's what, again, they told me in the admin certification training is their future, is how to take everyone in this room and give them an AI virtual assistant that will, again, double your ability to take these, actions and do this work. But it's only as good as the oversight and the forethought that we put in to it, because it can backfire. I've had realtors ask me to turn off the smart campaign because people don't like it. They're like, you don't send me these emails. And I was like, you're right. For a, client of 20 years, they're not going to want you to send them one of the automated smart campaign emails. It's going to rub them the wrong way. And all we got to do is turn that person off. Turn off their smart campaign. Go ahead.
Does that smart campaign default?
There are defaults.
Add?
Yep. So,
if you do a property boost as an example, and you get some leads coming in, is it going to default to that campaign?
Property boost most of the time, yes.
Okay.
Because
how do you shut that off so
I'll show
that
you.
I can manually handle it?
Yep. So if you go in, so if you want, you can do it either at the contact level. So if you want to turn it off for a specific contact, you can go to the contact, and on the right-hand side, remove them from the Smart Campaign. But if we're talking, we don't want the Smart Campaign to automatically trigger, what it is when we design the Smart Campaign, it is this Start Campaign When trigger that is the qualifier that allows the system to decide whether or not to start it. So what it will do most of the time is the default campaign is just for, I'm going to go find the default so I can show you the default new lead buyer. So what it says is start when the status is a new lead, but I have it marked as always run no. So if you were on yours and you had this campaign active, and then in addition to being active, we had this selection for it always run to be yes, that would be a campaign that would start automatically for that person. It would see, okay, I have a status or a lead that is, or a contact that's a new lead, and it would just start kicking those emails out automatically. What I would probably do is if I were to create a Smart Campaign and I want to target just my Property Boost people, is I would design it, again, I could use this one just as my email template, but then I'm going to design my trigger point to not trigger when the lead is new, but to trigger based on a specific hashtag that I would put in. And there is one for Property Boost. And what it is then you can see there's general Property Boost, but there's also Property Boost tied to your specific listings. So we could say, hey, I only want to target my Smart Campaign to the Property Boost I did for this 3857 Dakota. Or if I'm doing a Property Boost, I just designed that Smart Campaign just in a way to be a little less, direct and just a little more vague. Like, hey, I know I didn't email you directly, but your information came through based on this property. And it would be, I'd probably, if I'm going to do it based on a direct Smart Campaign, is I'm going to say, hey, I saw you clicked on the 3857 Dakota Avenue property. Are you looking in this area? Are you looking at this kind of a house? They might have just clicked on the link accidentally from Facebook, but it gives you an idea of like, hey, how did they know who I am? How do they know what I clicked on? You'd be surprised that something as simple as like, hey, I looked at this property. You might be the person I want to work with because, hey, I'm looking to change school districts because my kid's in 5th grade and the middle school's not great here. So they're not ready to move yet, but they are already dissatisfied with their current area, and what is their reason for trying to get out? And again, that is when you're designing a Smart Campaign, it is at that hashtag option that you can select what you want the trigger to be. There's also advanced triggers, which are more, I want to even further differentiate how I want it to start. But this kind of gets into, I don't want to go too in-depth into all the individualized triggers, because what it is we, as me as the tech trainer and you as the individual, find out who are we trying to grab. And then we just design our campaign in a way to look for those identifiers to just be a start or a stop. What's our identifier for this individual we want to start a campaign for? And then who are the people that we add that we want to just make sure that we mark them as don't touch them. Don't touch them from an automated standpoint. Yeah, I want them in there, but I only want to be able to target their communication. Like the one you brought up with the birthdays. I put people in here as prior buyer, prior seller, and then identify them strictly with the maybe yearly check-in for a market report, yearly check-in for a, hey, you bought a house a year ago kind of thing. It's we design each campaign based on the targeted group of individuals, and then maybe we have one campaign that is more of our like, I don't know anything about anybody, this is the one I use for them. And I let the system sort of weed them out for me. But yeah, it's a game of trial and error. I mean, we will see as we incorporate this stuff, the hit rates. I mean, that's the nice thing. With any of these things that we design, we can test how many people are responding to our smart campaign. We can test how many people are responding to our landing pages. We can see how many more website views we're getting on a monthly basis versus where we were at before. It's the the leave behinds at a open house. Again, if you utilize that thing I mentioned, going into your website and grabbing your QR code and just throwing a few of those QR codes on, coffee tables and other stuff, it's getting people to just click on stuff. And yeah, it's sort of insidious in a way. If you might get people who click on stuff who don't know why they're clicking on it, but sometimes you have to cast a wide net to get a few good fish. So, but again, there is so much to BoldTrail. I mean, at the start I did the video, and it showed all the different things that Inside Real Estate bought to build BoldTrail. And this is just sort of like the front end of it. There's all the back end that, we haven't even gotten into yet, that, the company might utilize, but, regular realtors probably aren't. So again, for leave behinds, get your contacts together, get logged in. I probably don't want to take up too much time because probably spend the next hour helping people get logged in. But yeah, then we can start to figure out personalized training schedules for everyone, and maybe do more of these classes, because I don't mind doing it. And thankfully today was an intro class. We could spend an entire class on one aspect of KV Core. So, but does anyone else have any more general questions? Go ahead.
Okay, you were talking about all of the automation.
Yep.
And while that is, I think, one of the most powerful things about this tool, it is also one of the biggest barriers that I have.
Yep.
Because I don't fully understand what is happening behind the scenes or what is being automated.
Okay.
And that makes me feel like I'm not in control of what's going on with my clients.
Yeah.
So I'm more hesitant to
And the nice thing is we can turn off all of your the automated communication right on the front end by just going into your personalized smart campaigns and just marking them to not run automatically.
It's the only thing that's automated, because I also thought that there were automated searches that it sends them properties that.
The search alerts, if they visit your website and search for properties, that could be that the system will start offering them properties based on their prior search results. That can't really be affected because it's identifying the individuals, their cookies, and giving them houses based on that. But you, if they are on your contact list, can go in and edit that search alert. So it might create a search alert for an individual, and then you can go in and change it. You can go in and turn it off.
Does it alert me that it created an alert?
It does in your dashboard. It will show you where your person is looking at properties, that there's a search alert for them. And it'll also show you in the individual contact as well. If you were to go, I think I am right there at the top of mine. Todd. So yeah, when you get in here, the search alert is right there. And it's, again, just marked as, if it's red, it's active. You can have multiple. This is where you would edit it in terms of the data within it. You can also go in on that contact level, I believe, and you can too many tots. Okay, come on. There we go. But since that search alert would have been done before you got to it, I'll have to look and see if there's a way to disable it. But I think it might have to require them getting to your contact list before it allow you to disable.
And I'm not saying that I want to disable it. I just want to understand what's happening behind the scenes, so that I'm a little bit more understanding of what the system is taking care of, and then what I need to make sure.
Yep. The default campaigns, this would be where I'd be more concerned from what your clients or those first communication points are going to look like. coming in here and just marking the status for your own. So if I were to search for myself up here on the campaigns, it shows which campaigns are mine, the user ones, and which ones are the company. And all you have to do on the status is just mark them over to gray if you want to avoid the default ones going into effect automatically. And I would probably recommend it until you are kind of more comfortable on that, like understanding how the campaigns are designed, getting your own personal touch into those first communication points, because it's getting in there to your, if we work together and got your smart campaign work done, these first couple weeks of communications, getting them personalized to you before we want to kick them off. And then identify, if we're going to get a smart campaign for you, how many people do we want to grab with it? Do we want to only grab people that you mark off personally? So you would create the campaign, and then once you've added all the contacts you want, you go in and just click all the contacts you want, add the smart campaign. And then they're all added manually, even though the automated part is going to be the communication back and forth. You've decided you want them to start. So.
How you doing? Come here.
Hey,
Nice
hi.
to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I want to be disrespectful of everybody's time. I've
Yeah.
got a couple of messages before you run, because it's important messages in regards to KB Corp. If you saw my video from last night, you know that we boost, Remax Advanced Plus boosts all of your listings. Last year we averaged 7 new leads from every one of your listings. 4,300 of those leads never got called on. Okay? At a 3%, even if you do 2% close rate, that's still a significant number of files that didn't close because we didn't follow up on our leads. We're going to do better this year. I don't know if Todd told you, but we're not like the rest of Remax. We have a WordPress site for all of you, because we were the reason why Remax went with KB across the United States. Okay? So our system is much more developed, it's enhanced. You can take it and enhance it even further, okay? So there's 3 main reasons why you want to make sure you're doing this. Number 1, because we're giving you business, we're driving business to you guys that's free. No referral fees, no nothing. It costs us about $7,000 a month to do that for you guys. Okay, it depends upon the month and how many listings you have. Number 2, AI. Todd's been talking a little bit about it. I'm talking with the owner of KB Corp. I know what they're doing. And I can tell you guys, if you're not, I don't care if you use KB Corp, if you're not on a legitimate, large source CRM right now, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Because the amount of AI and the types of AI, right? How many people looked at Remax First, or First.io? How many use that? Predictive analytics. Shame on all of you. Okay? Predictive analytics, right? So we paid for it for 2 years, and then Remax sunsetted it. Some of these companies are picking up the predictive analytics. Basically what it is it's saying, my client who's in my database, who I'm talking to, right, just got a new job, had a new baby, lost a job, just got a huge raise, right? All the predictive things that, buying diapers at Target, right? All the predictive analytics that either raise or lower someone's propensity to be high on the buyer listing side, right?
Is that what Calvin uses? That? Yeah, it's one of the lenders.
Yeah,
uses that.
yeah. Well, the lenders are ahead of us on this mark, okay? But the predictive analytics that are coming into KB Corp are silly, right? So the Big Brother's watching you, just so you know. You're not getting away with anything. Until that gets launched, what I'm going to tell you, third reason, is if you're not talking to your clients, somebody else is. Okay? And somebody else is finding out that they just got a new job, they got a big raise, that their wife or significant other just got a job on the other side of town. Okay? If you're not doing it, somebody else is. This is the easiest, outside of doing video on social media, this is the easiest way to drive business for you in 2025 and moving forward. And when AI comes, Tom mentioned it, it's learning all the time. It's going to be communicating with your client with relevant and timely information. Get on this stuff now, guys. I'm telling you. Do yourself, in 5 years, you're going to give yourself a high five for doing it today.
I'm worried that, like, the recent AI developments, they've tried to make it cheaper. and that, you know, if we're looking at our future competitors, it's the how can they make their AI cheap enough to try to just undercut us enough on this communication standpoint. Because they don't have to have that person making the first communication point. Their AI can do it, and then just hand it off and make that, you know, what client not even know they were dealing with AI.
Yep.
That's my goal, is to make it unidentifiable whether communication was AI or you. And the only way to do it is to find out who you are and make your website and all of this as close to you as possible, so that, again, we can let it do stuff and then let you just kind of narrow down those people that just need that extra push.
So this is intro to KV Core,
Yeah.
right? Now, we're going to do